Good morning and welcome to another sprint update from Talexio. Today we'll be going through sprints numbers 8 and 9. These were released in the middle of June and one just a couple of days ago on the 8th of July. On the system, as usual, you have the release notes available to you. What I'll be doing is running through these release notes and walk you through the different improvements and features that were added to the system. Starting with Sprint 8, the main change of Sprint 8 relates to the time and attendance module. There are some other changes and I can start with those. We have a feature for banking of hours. Banking of hours allows employees to earn hours and they go into a balance that they can use eventually instead of booking time off, for example. So they would earn this balance as they go along. In the system there is this feature, it's been there for quite a long time. What we've added in this release is if you have the banking hours, there is now a more detailed breakdown of a running total of that balance and where it came from. Because we had situations where people wanted more detail to understand how their banking balance came to be. So this breakdown in the system, when you click the hours of the entitlement when it's using banked hours, is helpful for employees to understand better where their balance came from. I can jump into the time and attendance section where there's a range of aesthetic improvements. There's also a few new features in there. So aesthetically, the first thing that we will notice is that the scheduler is a bit more obvious now. There's bold what needs to be bold, there's clear indication of what the shift types are, what's unpublished and what's not. These icons for where there's some warnings around the roster, things that need to be actioned. And also the whole interface for adding a shift has been reorganized in such a way that it clearly states who you're creating a shift for, where that shift is worked and when. So this categorization to who, where and when should help users in better understand different fields that make up a shift. There's also another feature in here which is the bulk changes. So if you need to apply a lot of changes, let's say you have thousands of shifts published in the future. In the past it was a bit of a slow process. There was a limit in fact to how many shifts you can modify at one go. With this feature, this bulk changes feature, you can bulk publish, unpublish, clear and modify those shifts in bulk from a single interface. So that's another addition. The main reason for these changes, besides these cosmetic improvements, is that we're beefing up a feature that we've had available as well for some time called the working schedule needs. Working schedule needs allows you to specify that on a particular day you want, for example, to have 3 customer care agents, right? So you set this need, this rule, you set it up front, and then when you're creating your roster, those needs will show up as warnings. With this release, it's now much simpler to see the working scheduler needs. For example, on the 20th of May, I had 0 out of the 3 customer care agents that I should have scheduled. And I have a shortcut button, Add Shift, that by pressing this, it either creates an open shift for me for a customer care agent, or I could even pick the employee, and this list is filtered by people who have that job title. So it's much faster for me to fill in the scheduler needs for that day. Right? I can press create and that scheduler need will now be fulfilled. Working scheduler needs are more effective now. They look better and they're more effective. With regards to the other improvements in Sprint 8, we have some cosmetic improvements to the background jobs section. So in the last release, we announced that we have a new section that lets you see the historical report generation history and allow you to download those. Now this has a bit more detail. It's not going to make a big difference, but it's making it better and more useful. And finally, we speak a bit about the insights, which is a very exciting upgrade that we're giving to all our clients on Talexio, not at an extra cost. There's some groundbreaking things happening there. Currently, we're running this with a few pilot clients, so some clients have access to this, but in the coming releases, we aim to give this to everyone. It's going to be very exciting and quite groundbreaking, so I'm looking forward for that. We can now jump into sprint number 9 and see what's in the release notes of that one. One of the features that we've added in this release is a brand new feature called leave restrictions. With leave restrictions, you can restrict how much of your workforce is on leave on the same day. So there's a support article accompanying this new feature. In here you can see a bit more detail about this feature, how to set them up, how to set up these leave restrictions, and also the impact on booking leave. So if you're booking leave and you've reached, the quota has been reached, more than 50% of, for example, if I see my live account, I have a restriction that in the finance department, accounts clerks I cannot have more than 50% of my accounts clerk on leave. With that type of restriction, you will get this type of notification when someone tries to book that leave. So this feature is very useful in controlling a bit your usage of leave and making sure that you're not understaffed on a particular day. We also have some better visibility in the time and attendance bulk approvals. We have an improved floating summary bar. So if I go in time and attendance, and here I can see that this breakdown is already much more detailed. I have how many hours were scheduled, how many were clocked, how many are approved already, how much is approved as overtime. And if I press the arrow, I can see some more details, how much leave there was, how much missing there is, and all this information. This should be very helpful in making decisions during approval. And besides this, we have another interesting feature. With our punch clocks, we had regular updates that the clients needed to do when daylight saving changes. If you opt in for this feature and do some changes on your punch clock devices, thereafter the time on your device will automatically update to the daylight saving changes in Mortal. A very interesting feature in the permissions section. It is now possible to set your permissions also based on reporting clients. So you may have situations where you don't want to update the permissions, or you don't want to delegate for an entire department, but you want to delegate someone permission to approve leave of anyone who reports to them. That is now possible. So you can take an option during the permission setup, for example, approve leave, and I can say include all the direct reports. By ticking this checkbox, anyone who directly reports to Catherine will be able to approve leave for them. Alright, so this is different from our previous permissions where you could select employees or select units. It's another type of assignment for permissions, but it allows you more flexibility. I believe this will be very helpful for certain organizations where their reporting lines are cross-department. That's all from these two releases. I hope you can find some time to go through these features, and I hope that you find them useful. Thank you.